Jacob.
Did you want your camera on, Andrew?
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I just asked to start video.
Oh, okay, good. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you for sending that little email with the lady. Her
Oh,
name
okay.
is Sarah. She lives in Belgium, actually. And she is a devotee of Maharaj, and she was willing to help me out if I should go to that gathering in Brittany. She was willing to actually help me to get there, which was really amazing.
Good,
And
good.
what she said was, devotees must help one another. It was beautiful. I thought it was really beautiful.
Good, good.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere that Nisargadatta Maharaj said regarding decision making, he said that never make a decision unless it is made in the I am.
Record progress.
Yeah, from
Which
the
I,
sense. Go ahead.
which I presume would mean that it's spontaneous. I think there's a little feedback here.
Yeah, I just muted. Keith came in and.
Okay, hello, Keith. So, which would mean if it's in the I made in the I am, it's a spontaneous, it happens spontaneously. But nevertheless, he also says that
Keith, I'm gonna just mute you again because you're providing a lot of feedback.
It still is.
I mean,
Yeah. It didn't stop.
it's like echo, 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 echo.
No.
So I'm just gonna mute you and,
Yeah, I'm really started having problems.
okay. I'm sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
that's okay. Well, basically he said, but also he says that everything happens spontaneously regardless of whether you think you are making the decision or not. It's so could you speak about that? Like decision making?
I mean, when you're sitting here and, okay, I have to make a decision. Now there's a concept that, okay, I'm going to use this body because here I am. I'm
Right.
saying, okay,
Right.
I can drop back into that sense of presence. And from there, the decision is spontaneously occurring. And there's no decision maker being created through mind, thinking thoughts, or trying to have specific outcomes. There's just a, so that's the, okay, only make decision from the I am. If you're in this mode of I'm making this decision, I have a decision to make. Because from here, whatever you're thinking about, the decision, what it's finished. There's nothing. And then it sort of just arises. Spontaneous action in the moment will come through, but you haven't created a decision maker in mind through building thoughts and the concepts of how is this decision going to affect me? What's the positive, the negative, this road, that road? If I do this, if I do that, all of that is mind. So when you make a decision from the I am or the sense of presence, your selfless self, there's no concept of a decision maker being created. And it literally, it's like you go in and then just whatever is happening is happening. And this is very good to, just like in any moment you want to pause and just kind of find that sense of presence if you seemingly are lost in the world. Even though you know the world's not true for a moment, perhaps the illusion has impressed as such. So refresh your memories. Just be with you. That's why it's be normal, be simple, be humble, be always with you. Because if you're normal and you're simple and you're humble, you're not creating all these personas. If you're not humble, then you have ego to defend, then you have to see how other people are viewing you so you can constantly check in with yourself. Be normal is just don't make a big deal. It's spontaneous action in the moment. No need to really think about a lot of stuff. Be simple is just whatever's right in front of you. You're doing this in the moment and that's finished. And be always with you. And if for some reason you do believe, because if you're asking about a decision that needs to be made, then you're taking body form, but you're truly the formlessness, not the body. So you're sitting and, just refreshing your memory so that I am that. And that's it. Because you're more like the space in the room. This body, you could say the space in the room is seeing through these eyes, and that's the space in the room is alive using the body, to see through the eyes, and then gets lost in the fact that I'm in a room with all these things and forgets you're the space. But in reality, you're the space. You never left the space. And so any activities that are occurring within you, there's no deed, no doer. Spontaneous action in the moment. Because in the ultimate state, you're formless. And not the concept of formless, but the absence of all things, the absence of everything, including the concept of your own self, or even I exist. That's why I remember very early on in like getting in through spirituality and stuff, I like to make decisions flipping a coin. Because it was fun to watch. Like it's not serious something, but it's like, okay, do I want to go to the beach or do I want to go to this other place over here where there's like a party happening? And I'm okay with either one, I say to myself. But when I flip the coin, it's very interesting to see, no matter which one it is, there's a thought that comes, well, what if we're missing something on that side?
Yeah.
So this flipping a coin is the same as remaining with your selfless self. It's just like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, look at this. You say, should I go here? Should I go there? And then the thought comes, check airlines. And you know, okay, accept this thought, check airlines. Then maybe a thought comes, buy a ticket. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not until the next day. Oh, buy a ticket. But it's not a process. It's just spontaneous because there's no decision maker being created. When you remain with your selfless self and or you refresh your memories, you just, oh, that subtle sense of presence. Just die, just die. This is the answer to all questions. So any question I have, this is the answer. And from this place, the question dissolves the questioner. And a spontaneous action in the moment is happening without the concept of a decision maker being created.
In those moments when there is the sense of real presence in the I am, which I'll be honest, it's not very, I mean, there's a lot of things happening, not actually in my exterior world, but interiorly. That, but anyway, when I'm in that place, there's nothing that I don't want to do anything really. You know, just basically just stay there. Just stay there.
Action will arise. You won't just sit
Yeah.
there like, you know, because now I'm in this blissful state that I'm just going to sit here forever and never move out of my chair. No, because the reality is the body is going to move.
Right, yeah.
But you're not going to create a concept of a mover, a doer, outcomes, anything, relations, nothing, knowledge, nothing. And when you say you're not in this place very often, this is the key more than anything else, is sitting quietly with your own sense of self. This just die, just die. This presence will be felt. Maybe not so strongly in the beginning. I mentioned in the beginning, it was like the size of a dime, but all attention was focused on that size of a dime. Like Sri Ramakant Maharaj told Nisargadatta Maharaj, remain with I am. And he said, 24 hours he remains with this I am. Whenever he's not doing anything, he's pausing even for a moment, he's remaining with I am. Because it's like a muscle, it grows.
Like the mustard seed. Huh?
And to the point where now you don't have to consciously seek because it just is. And while you're having body form, you can use this body, dip into the nectar of immortality, which is sitting here. Okay, just die, subtle sense of presence. And you're saying, okay, too much internal. That's fine, because right away, a busy mind, so to speak, you know you're apart from. Think of how difficult it would be to understand that the mind doesn't affect you if you had no thoughts. Because how would you be able to observe that the mind is separate from yourself if there were no thoughts? So to have a very busy mind is kind of a blessing because you can observe, oh, this I am not. Maybe for a time you were in the stream and getting your butt kicked, flipping around here and there. You tried to stand up, you kept falling down, it kept taking you further downstream. But then suddenly the idea came, oh, I can stand on the bank. I don't have to flow along with this stream. And that's the same when you're sitting in meditation and all these thoughts, you say, at first, you say, oh, I can't sit for meditation. There's just too many thoughts. They're coming and going, and it's just, I can't keep my mind quiet. Well, you're not supposed to keep your mind quiet. A quiet mind is all you need. What does this mean? Remaining with your selfless self, the mind is naturally quiet because you're no longer paying attention to the flow of thoughts. Or, in our analogy, you're no longer in the stream, getting your butt kicked, trying to stand up and the river's too fast. And then you move over here and you move over there and you get knocked downstream and you feel like, oh, I have no control. Or the horses, the chariot. The horses are galloping and they're going crazy. You just have no control. And at that point you say, I give up. And this is just to see, oh, thoughts can be observed. And I'm separate and apart from that. I'm prior to thought because I'm the observer of this thought. So that means whether this mind is here or not, I am. So then the next step is just to sit and remain. Now that you're no longer paying attention to this flow of thoughts, you can pay attention to yourself because naturally your attention is going to go somewhere. It's either going to go out or in. So you say, okay, I'm going to pay attention to what's here, and there's nothing.
The thing about thoughts is that some of them are connected to desires or wants, and others are maybe desires and aversions. So there's like a dissolution of the body mind that's got to really happen because one thought you may really desire or want, and it pesters you, and then another one you may be afraid of, and that pesters you. You want to get rid of that. That's, so basically there's the emotional attachment to these thoughts, or maybe just the condition.
You're not an individual.
Yeah.
This is the deepest thing. Everything that you said right here is mind, like just playing tricks, basically. To you, the selfless self, none of these are happening. This pleasure and pain principle only can happen when there's a me.
Exactly, yeah.
A hook to hang my hat, but you're formless. There's no hook. So you remain with your selfless self. These thoughts may seem, oh, if I don't think this thought, I won't get this. Or, oh, if I don't think this thought, I might get into big trouble down the road. This is not true. You are the answer to all your problems, meaning you remain with your selfless self. All these thoughts coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. The more you remain with your selfless self, it slows until there's nothing. Occasionally a thought might pop and be like, okay, remember to put on the calendar Valentine's or something. And that's it. Because you're no longer creating this nothing. And that's why going back to okay, thoughts are there, boom, now you remain with your selfless self. You have to have the direct recognition, the direct experience of yourself. Otherwise, we're just talking about an experience that you're going to try and get. A direct experience of your own selfless self clears all doubt. And you say, okay, occasionally I can feel that sense of presence and be in this I am, this very sense of just I. Then this needs more work. more than anything else, more than attending satsang, more than going on trips, more than anything. And it can be done all the time. You know, you can be at your job with customers talking. Okay, can we have a minute to think about it? Sure. And now while they're doing that, you remain with yourself. And that grows because you're training this concept of you to seek reality rather than going out into the illusion. Because all thoughts lead to illusion. Remember, you're prior to mind, so anything that the mind can present to you is false because it came along with the body. The mind cannot produce any thoughts, images, or ideas about you because you are prior to mind.
Outside of the whole thing, basically, you know, it's
Because
the mind is the content of consciousness, and so you're outside of the whole
you
yeah.
completely formless. Everything and all things, but not even having to say this because you just are. Concept of I exist comes. This consciousness is creating all this stuff. And body is 5 elemental goo within the dream, labeled you. Recognition that somehow, some way you are separate brings this sense of I. It's not true. It's just the space in the room. The space in the room has mom, dad, and this new little baby. And it's just the space that's playing mom and dad and the baby. But each one is trying to see from their individual point of view and forgets the idea that they're the space in which all of this is happening, rather than not being these little individuals. And this is just not true. Mind came along with the body. You're prior to body. Prior to beingness, there was no body. There was no mind. There was no world. There was no sense of existence. There was nothing. Because beingness, the sense of existence, is then creating all of this spontaneously. Best example, dream. Lay down at night. Physical body, yes, laying down. The you that you are is still going. Because never sleep, never rest, never nothing, you just are. So this dream consciousness is then created through the sense of existence. Boom, dream world is created. All these little bodies are in the dream. You're animating everything and creating a nice story within the dream. You wake up, it's just a dream. You know this when you wake up. But while you're in the dream, identified with a little dream character, everything seems very real.
You know what it is? I think in my case, there's still a wanting the dream to be real. You know, like Ranjit Maharaj would say, it's the love of illusion. You don't want to give it up, you know.
Then you don't know yourself in a real sense.
Yeah.
Because when you remain with the sense of existence and you know you're the knower of the sense of existence, you're nothing to do with it. Like, how can you be in illusion? Nothing to give up, because it's literally like you wanting to take part of the dream with you outside of the, quote, sleeping dream. I have a nice house in my dream. I'd like to pull it out of my dream and live in it here in the, quote, real world.
That's the way it goes. I mean, you know, that's the deal, I think, you know, and so it takes a little getting beat up more by the illusion before you to kind of like, okay, I've had enough of it, you know, kind of.
But meditation, I mean, if you just sit quietly with yourself, it's so self-evident and you want more like the reward seemingly is the selfless self-intoxication. That's the reward for remaining with your selfless self and like exercising that muscle. Just like if you went to the gym, you exercise the muscles, the reward is like you get that energy feeling, you feel more healthy all of a sudden and all this, even you're probably checking yourself out in the mirror just from a couple of times exercising. It is a feeling. So when you're exercising this muscle, so to speak, this attention, this presence, and you're more and more and more in the selfless self-intoxication, the Satchidananda, the bliss that comes with remaining with your selfless self while you're still in that kind of transitory of I'm someone remaining with my selfless self. That's the reward, and you just continue so that anytime, anywhere, rather than thinking, rather than questioning, rather than contemplating, you're just here. No questions here, no answers here, no world here, no illusion here. And you know that the only thing that makes it appear that you're not here is this. And it's only here for a time. And then there's no problems, no nothing. You're just here. And from this place, you don't need to make decisions. If you do, they'll happen spontaneously. You know, when Maharaj says, do your job, do your duties, these decisions come automatically. Just, oh, okay, doing this and doing that, and all this. You just remain. And it's okay. Like Maharaj says, you very much well know where you are. And if you're not in the place where your conviction is, I am more like the space in the room than the objects within it, then it's just more meditation. In meditation, you don't have to sit for hours and hours and hours. You can be out in your daily activities, shopping, moving about, doing whatever, and just mantra and that sense of presence and wanting that more than life itself, because that is life itself.
Right, yeah.
That's why Maharaj says this human body, it's a miracle. It's a miracle box. You've been given this, and if you don't open it and you don't spend time with yourself, Siddhar Mushra Maharaj very nastily says you have wasted your existence. Like in Master of Self-Realization, he says you have wasted your human life. You have wasted your existence. That's a little rough. But remaining with your selfless self, that's the most important thing. Just die, just die. And then you can find yourself in any moment using the body. Because the body is just an instrument to, like a tuning fork for yourself, for the sense of existence. It's just, you can't have, then the concept of mind doesn't register. Really, no concept registers. It's a black hole. It sucks in all the possibility of there being anything other than your own self. Meditation, remaining with your selfless self. Because the idea of, you know, I really love illusion. Illusion's really nice. I have a nice life set up. I'm going to miss it when I'm gone. But it's the dream, and you won't know you're not playing as Andrew any longer, yet that presence, believing itself to be all these other little characters, will also know, you will know that you are that. Because you see, from here, what's world? Whether world is here or not, I am. What brings about the concept of the world? The body. So this, what happens to this when this body is no more? Nothing. How? You can, not even the concept of death can make sense. Like, oh, when this body falls, what happens? But okay. When you dream tonight, if you dreamt that somebody in your dream died, what happens to them? And when you wake up, are you a destroyer of worlds? You know, like, and also, as we said, no matter whether you have a really nice house or not, you can't take it out and say, you know what, I want to live in this house out here. This is like the perfect house. I mean, you could build it in the outside waking dream, but what's the difference? Because the consciousness that's creating the waking world and the consciousness that's creating the dream world is one and the same. And you know this. Without knowing, even without creating a concept of a witnesser, you think about the space in the room is just seeing, like the space is taking this body and seeing through these eyes and seeing all these things, but never left the space. Has nothing to do with these eyes seeing these things.
Sometimes you feel like you're harried by the feeling that I have to do something. You know, it's like, but basically just stop. You know, I've heard the expression full stop, be still. Yeah.
Maharaj says, stop all this thinking, be totally blank. Stop all this thinking, be totally blank means remaining with your selfless self, because it's a blank. It's like a screen, the Etch-a-Sketch, when you used to draw and do all this stuff and then you'd shake it and it all goes away. That's when you remain with your selfless self. Illusion, no matter how beautiful the Etch-a-Sketch was, you remain with your selfless self and it just blanks and you're just, and then from here, see, and that's why you have to have courage. Like Maharaj says, we're so used to having this body form for a long association with this body that we don't have the courage to really say, well, if I remain with my selfless self, like my life might go to shit, you know? I might come out on this other side of remaining with my selfless self, and damn, I'm homeless. I didn't pay any of my bills. I didn't do any of my things. This is not true, though. But this is like an illusory kind of perception of, well, you better not, you know, you better still make these decisions because it's okay to remain with your selfless self, but there is a world that needs attending to. But the world is your own self. And the more you remain with yourself, the more you'll see it's arising spontaneously. Maharaj says, you are the projector of the world, not the projections.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
I need to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to sit.
And forget it.
Well, not even forget it, because that's an action too. Just,
Yeah.
you want to mantra and remain with your selfless self. All these different decisions are flying around and all the different consequences, but you're not interested. You're interested in your own self, just remaining. Every decision that needs making, same thing. And try in your everyday life, because this is practical spirituality, to live as a master. Live as a master means you're remaining with your selfless self, and you're pausing just to search for yourself.
You mentioned the word courage. I think that has a lot to do with it. You can become so dependent that